All those jokes I made about Kirk Cousins. Karma's a... Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. The sky is falling, Grossi, and today, oh God, right before Brandon Perna and I were about to go live for GPS, and we were looking at it like, oh, it's a bit of a slow news day. Really don't got anything to talk about. It's reported that Aaron Rodgers tests positive for COVID. And it's not only that, it's that immediately is ruled out of Sunday's game. And so the initial shock of, oh God, he got COVID, hopefully he's okay, then turned to a little bit of confusion because the only way that you are going to be immediately ruled out is if you are unvaccinated. And considering what Rodgers told reporters back in August, a lot of people, myself included, were under the impression that Rodgers was vaccinated because back in August, in a press conference, and I quote, he was directly asked if he was vaccinated, and he said he was immunized. So there was no further pushback on that, or the beat reporters didn't ask any further questions because they're like, oh, that means that he's vaccinated. Okay. Well, it turns out that that is not the case at all. And now there's lots of reports that are coming out, including from Rob Domofsky of ESPN. And apparently, Rodgers petitioned the NFL to get alternative COVID treatment in lieu of the vaccine. And the NFL is like, yeah, no, like we're still going to consider you unvaccinated. So the NFL has considered Aaron Rodgers unvaccinated since the start of the season. That's going to lead to a whole bunch of other problems that we'll talk about momentarily. But let's talk about the short-term stuff. So Aaron Rodgers immediately ruled out for Sunday's game against the Chiefs. Kurt Benkert, our practice squad QB, friend of the show, tested positive for COVID yesterday. And I had that thought in my mind. I was like, oh man, I hope the QB room doesn't get it. Well, here we are. And so the other problem is one, let's hope and pray that Jordan Love doesn't get COVID. We don't know his vaccinated status. And so because of that, Jordan Love is currently slotted to be the starting QB against the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday. This will be his first career start. And just to kind of like not talk about Rodgers for a hot second, talk about Jordan Love. For Packers fans, like this is going to give them a fantastic view on what we potentially have in Jordan Love. The only silver lining here is that they have days to prepare Jordan Love. Obviously, the defense of the Chiefs is not so hot, but there's a lot of days to at least establish a game plan and get Jordan Love as ready as humanly possible. And like, I'm kind of excited for that to see what the kid has. Obviously, we saw him play in the preseason and he showed some flashes, but then also made some, rookie mistakes. And so it'll be interesting to see how Jordan Love plays, what kind of play calling there will be. I imagine there's going to be a very large emphasis on the run game, but hopefully, Jordan Love is going to get the opportunity to play, and he doesn't test positive as well. Jumping back to Aaron Rodgers, not only is the Chiefs game he's definitely out for, but the following week against the Seahawks is also in jeopardy, considering the earliest that he could return is November 13th, which is a day before the Seahawks game. And he has to be asymptomatic. He has to quarantine for 10 days and has to be asymptomatic. So that's a bet. That's a gamble right there. So we don't even know if we're going to have Aaron Rodgers for the next 2 games on top of that. Now, there's a lot of people talking about potential ramifications for this. And there's a lot that there is going to come out over the next few days, and there's going to be a lot to sift through. But what we know right now, Aaron Rodgers, not vaccinated, and has been not wearing a mask when talking to the media, which is something that you gotta do. So apparently sources are telling reporters that he has been masked up inside the facility, and so that's all well and good, but he's definitely not when he's talking to reporters. In addition, he just had a Halloween party over the weekend, and the NFL has very clear regulations and guidelines that there's certain gatherings that cannot occur if you're unvaccinated with other players because they're trying to reduce the spread as well. And so now you just have to hope and pray that there is no further spread and there's not an outbreak amongst the Packers players, because there are a number of players who are not vaccinated. You saw this last week with Joe Barry and Davante Adams. They tested positive, and Alan Lazard, who was a close contact of Davante Adams, because he was unvaccinated, had to sit out of the Cardinals game. So it didn't matter if he was positive or not, just because he was unvaccinated. Those be the rules in the NFL that, listen, you can't. So any close contact with Aaron Rodgers who was unvaccinated could potentially have to sit out for Sunday. So yeah, this story has the potential to get a million times worse. In addition, the NFL is going to have to look in on how the Packers have been dealing with Aaron Rodgers being unvaccinated. And if they violated any protocols, there's going to be fines that are going to be coming to Aaron Rodgers. Are there going to be potential suspensions? I don't know. So we're going to have, of course, wait and see if there's going to be further punishment. On top of that, and I know this is a little bit of a lighter note, but we still haven't seen Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. The last time they played, Patrick Mahomes was injured, and we were like, okay, we're going to see it this time. And unfortunately, that is taken away from fans once again. And it's just a really bad situation, to be honest. Because if the Packers did violate protocol, who knows if it's just fines, if they're going to have to lose draft picks. There's a number of things that could come out on this. We're going to see how this case is going to be handled, because this is going to blow up into something real, real big. National media, of course, is going to be on top of it because this is one of the star players in the NFL. And all of this, of course, happening on Coach Matt LaFleur's birthday. What a great birthday present. And to put my own thoughts on this, I think I'm just incredibly disappointed, because even if you want to take out the political garbage and all that stuff, and even if you want to take out the health ramifications, like, it is a problem, because if you want to be a competitive team, getting the vaccine puts you at a competitive advantage. And I don't understand why people are coming at this and be like, well, you can still get COVID if you have the vaccine. Everybody knows that. That's not a talking point. However, there's a competitive advantage to having the vaccine, because if you test positive and are vaccinated, there's a chance that you could return within 48 hours. If you're not vaccinated, you have to be out for a minimum of 10 days if you test positive. Or if you are not vaccinated, if you're a close contact to somebody who tests positive, you also have to sit out. So that's a big competitive disadvantage for the entire team. And for you to be the face of the franchise and the head guy, like, he just put teammates at risk. And on top of that, he put his team at risk. And again, not even looking at health ramifications, just in terms of winning and losing football games. And as a guy who wants to win so badly, I mean, this does not help your cause. And then on top of that, there's all like the health ramifications that come along with it. I hope Aaron Rodgers recovers. I hope he's asymptomatic. And I hope that, you know, his family members and friends and close contacts of him don't get COVID and they are safe and they are fine. But I think that this is just a huge, huge risk that Aaron Rodgers has decided to take. And for that, like, I'm super disappointed in him. And I know that this is like a controversial, like, oh, it's my choice and all that great stuff. But you look at it in terms of you are playing a team sport and you're potentially putting teammates at risk, not just for health problems, but also in terms of winning and losing football games, which at the end of the day is obviously lesser and inferior to potential health ramifications. But if you want to just look at this from a football standpoint, it's not a good situation. So we'll see what other news comes out about this ordeal. I'm sure that there will be lots of stuff coming out in the next few days, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. I implore you not to turn it into a complete crap show, because that's honestly not needed, not necessary, and is definitely not wanted. But let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons. We're at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.